Hey everyone, if you're learning Russian, you've probably run into this little puzzle, the word both. It seems so simple, but, there's a bit of a trick to it. So, in the next few minutes, we're going to completely break it down so you can nail it for good, right? In English, it's so easy. We just use both for everything. Both brothers, both sisters, both windows, doesn't matter. But Russian makes you stop and choose between two different words. So, what's going on here? Why the extra step? Let's solve this little mystery. And here they are, oba and obe. These two little words are the Russian way of saying our one word, both. And understanding when to use each one, well, that's the whole game. Let's get into the rules. So, the answer, like with so many things in Russian, all comes down to one really fundamental concept, grammatical gender. Seriously, if you can wrap your head around this part, you've already won half the battle. The rule itself is actually surprisingly simple. While, both words mean both, the one you choose depends completely on the grammatical gender of the nouns you're talking about. Let's see how that works. So here's the rule, plain and simple. You're going to use oba for masculine nouns and for neuter nouns. And obie, that one is reserved specifically for feminine nouns. You see how obie is kind of off in its own little column there? That's a huge clue we'll come back to. First, let's see it in action. Okay, take the sentence. Brata, brothers, that's a masculine noun. So naturally, we use oba. Oba brata пришли. Simple, right? Now let's just flip that. Sestry, sisters, is a feminine noun. So the rule kicks in and we've got to switch over to обе сестры пришли. You see the pattern? Masculine gets oba, feminine gets обе. And just to complete this first rule, what about those neuter nouns? Well, remember, they get grouped right in there with the masculine ones, so a neuter word like okna for windows also takes oba. Oba okna открыты. Okay, so you've got the basics down. Masculine and neuter get one, feminine gets the other. But what happens when you have one of each? A brother and a sister, a husband and a wife. This is the exact spot where a lot of learners get stuck, but I promise the rule is actually super simple. And here's the key. This points to a much bigger principle in Russian grammar. Whenever you have a mix of genders in a group, the language almost always just defaults to the masculine form. So for a mixed pair, you will always use oba. Just look at these examples. A husband and wife, they were both home. Они оба были дома. Or how about Sasha, a boy's name, and Masha, a girl's name? They both came. Они оба пришли. See? It doesn't matter that there's a female in the pair. The masculine form, oba, just takes over. All right, so now you know the grammar rules. But knowing the rule and actually sounding like a native speaker, well, those are two different things. Let's look at a really small but crucial detail that will absolutely polish your Russian. Okay, here's a pro tip for you. A direct word-for-word translation like "Оба мальчик и девочка пришли" it just sounds really clunky and unnatural to a native speaker. The natural way to say this is to split it into two ideas. First, you just state the fact, the boy and girl came. Then you add the emphasis, they both came. This tiny change in sentence structure makes a huge, huge difference in how fluent you sound. So we've covered the main rules, we've covered the exceptions, and we've even covered how to sound natural. Now, let's just boil all of that down into one incredibly simple memory hack that you can use every single time. This is it. This is all you actually need to remember. Just ask yourself, am I talking about two females? Use obi. Is it two males? Use oba. Is it a mixed pair of a male and a female? You still use oba. That's the entire logic in 3 simple lines. So the most important point to walk away with is this. Obie is special. It's reserved for a very exclusive club, pairs that are 100% feminine. For absolutely everything else, masculine, neuter, or mixed, your default go-to answer is always going to be oba. Just think of oba as the general rule and obie as the one specific exception. And there you go. You've now officially mastered the core rule for oba and obe. Of course, this is Russian we're talking about, so the next level of fun is learning how these words change in all 6 of the different grammatical cases. But we'll save that for another time. For now, you've totally cracked the most important part of this puzzle.